Alright, so my friends, welcome to our complete set review for Phyrexia. All will be one.
We are the Borg.
That's what's up. Every card, constructed, limited. We're going over all of them. We did white, we did blue. You missed those, go watch them on YouTube. Now we're doing black. Giving out our awards as usual. We got the Paladar previews coming up in the Discord. Make sure if you're a subscriber or YouTube member, get in the Discord and do that. We got Paladar Poker Night. We got Commander Night, going to be this Saturday, which is super fun. A lot of great events happening in the Discord. It's totally revamped now, which is super cool. So if you're a YouTube member, Twitch sub, get in there for sure. And let's rock and roll. Let's just do it. First up, Archpriest of Shadows. Starting out with a rare 5 mana for a 4/4 backup 1. Once again, backup is a mechanic where when this creature ETBs, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. And if it's another creature, it gains the following ability until end of turn. So, what are the abilities? Death Touch. Also has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So definitely just too costly for constructed. 5 mana to maybe get a creature back is just not good enough in constructed. But in limited, this is a bomb. This is a great card in limited. A 4/4 Death Touch for 5 with this ability is already fine. But the backup effect is super good. You know, just put on a flyer, attack, get a creature back, and now you're way ahead on rate. So this is definitely a super solid draft card. First pickable rare. In limited, you know, not super exciting. I'm sorry, in constructed, not super exciting, but great limited card for sure. Bladed Battle Fan. 2 mana for an equipment with flash. When it ETBs, you attach to a creature you control, and it gains indestructible until end of turn. Creature gets +1/+0, equip 1. I actually kind of like this card, honestly. I'm not a big fan of these 2 mana tricks in limited that are just like, you know, indestructible +1/+0 or whatever. Because typically they just don't do enough, and they're kind of clunky, and you just don't want that many of them. The fact that this leaves behind a very tangible piece of material, you know, giving +1/+0 is not a lot, but it's definitely a big thing, honestly. As far as, you know, sizing up, moving it around, which is pretty cool. And it's also an artifact for like sacrificing stuff as well, which is kind of cool. This is cool. I like this a lot. I like this card a lot. Not a card you're going to like first pick or anything, but I think this is a card where if this card's in your draft deck, you're not unhappy about it. And I think it has extra bonuses when it comes to synergy as far as like sacrificing artifacts and so on and so forth. Card's cool. Cool draft card. Not a slam dunk by any means, but pretty cool one. Bloated Processor. That's gross. 3 mana for a 3/2. Sack a Phyrexian. Put a +1/+1 counter on Bloated Processor. Whenever it dies, incubate X, where X is its power. So definitely a phenomenal limited card, right? A 3/2 for 3 that dies to make a 3/3 incubator is already excellent. So no question there. But in constructed, if this thing could sacrifice the incubate tokens before they transformed, I think it would be in really good shape. I would need to like look through, you know, all the Phyrexians, legal and standard. I guess this plays well with the might tokens from the last set. It's like the 1 mana, you know, when it dies, make a might. There's the Hive, which is kind of cool. It's a free sack outlet, which is pretty good, and they are counters as well. This card's pretty good. I think this card's going to be pretty good constructed. I think there's enough things for it, probably. We'll see. It needs to have a support, but it's good. The rate is certainly there. Could see play constructed for sure, and then limited, just a phenomenal card. Breach the Multiverse. That is a big spell. 7 mana. Sorcery. Each player mills 10 cards. For each player, choose a creature card or planeswalker card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian, in addition to its other types. So, pretty fun card. You just steal your opponent's stuff, get a big thing. This is definitely going to be a 10 new brews kind of card. Just put a bunch of dumb stuff in my deck and just kind of cast this. Obviously, busted in Commander. Yeah, I get it, you know. Constructed, this card just isn't really good enough because it's hard to imagine you're getting a card that's worth more than 7 mana for this, and then your opponent just might not have a good card. As a sideboard card against Atraxa, sure, that's cute, but why not just play Atraxa yourself, you know? 5 mana is a lot. You know, I don't know. It's a pretty fun card. I'm sure I'll play this card. It just seems very fun. But constructed, in limited, same thing. Maybe you just hit like a 3-drop and a 4-drop. Is that worth 10 mana? I mean, 10 mana. Sorry, 7 mana. I don't know, honestly. It's a fun card. Not really a great card. Obviously a commander card. You get the idea. Collective Nightmare. 3 mana for an instant. Convoke. -3/-3 on a turn. Great draft card, obviously. Just a good removal spell. Convoke's obviously good. Constructed, not really good enough. you know, if you cast this for free, it's still not that exciting constructed. But in limited, this card's great. Convoke's a very good mechanic. It's a good draft card. How much to say? Completed Huntmaster. 3 mana for a 2/3 Phyrexian Elf Warrior. Pay 1, sack a creature or artifact, incubate 3. So, like I was saying, you know, the artifact that's left behind from the equipment, sacrifice to this thing, and now it's a 3/3, which is pretty great. So, seems like a very good draft card. You need to have your deck somewhat built around it, but you can also just like sacrifice a creature if it's dying to kill spell, sacrifice a creature if it's, you know, gonna be whatever under pacifism. So sweet card, the body's reasonable enough. Good draft card. Very, very good draft card. Consuming Aetherborn. We have 4 mana for a 2/2 lifelink backup 1. So effectively a 3/3 lifelink by itself, or you can put a counter onto like something, get 1 big lifelink shot in, have a 2/2 lifelink left over. Filler level card. You know, pretty fillery, not super exciting. Just a filler level draft common. Corrupted Conviction. It's a trap. I'm mostly calling this my trap card to call myself out from when Village Rites was first printed. Because I thought Village Rites was stone cold nuts. I thought Village Rites was going to be played in every deck. You know, not every deck, but like in tons of different decks. It was going to be a huge, huge card. Ended up being only fringe playable and totally outshadowed by Deadly Dispute. So I just don't think this card's going to be that good, unfortunately. It's okay. I know it's not like, I don't think this card's like super hype or anything. I'm mostly just looking back at my Village Rites call and just making fun of myself. Yeah.
That's it. I'm going to clown college.
This card's fine and nothing else for the most part, which is kind of sad. So I actually like the card a lot. And also it looks like a Johnny kills Shieldred. Damn. Spoiler alert. When's the Madden TV show happening, huh? Come on. Deadly Derision. Boom. Bombin Common. This card was a sorcery previously and it was really good. Now it's an instant and it's really good. 4 mana for an instant. Destroy a creature, planeswalker, make a treasure. Not much to say. Card's great. Great limited card. Mana fixer, ramper. Makes an artifact sacrifice for artifact things. Just a really, really good draft card. Nothing else to say. Card's great. Don't play it constructed. Don't play it constructed, but card's awesome. Drag Recycler. 2 mana for a 2/2. Tap, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Each opponent loses 1, you gain 1. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of reach if you really, really need it, but for the most part, this is just like a Thor level bear. Not super exciting. You can sack your incubate tokens, I guess, though, without needing to like turn them into creatures, but just filler. Etched Familiar. 3 mana for a 3/2. When it dies, drain for 2. Filler, but good filler. This is a fine draft card, honestly. Just play it, block, gain some life. Good in aggro deck, good in defensive deck. It's a good draft card. Etched Host Doom Bringer. 5 mana for a 3/5. When it ETBs, choose 1. A little mini siege rhino action, drain 2. Or choose a battle. If it's an opponent's battle, you can deal 3 damage to it, basically. Otherwise, you can gain 3 life to one of your own battles. This card's good, honestly. Battles are a huge thing in this set. We're doing battles in their own section at the end. It's going to be our last section. Battles are a huge deal. There's like a bajillion battles. There's so many battles in this set. And this card interacts with them very, very well. And then if it's no battle to be won, then you just play a 3/5 and drain for 2, which is fine also. So not a high pick by any means, but definitely a solid draft card. Veil's Conversion. 5 mana for a enchant creature, -2/-2. When it dies, Surveil 2. This is your typical, like, you know, bad removal spell unlimited. It's not very exciting, but you'll play it if you have to. Little value there. Just okay. Final Flourish. 2 mana for an instant. This is your good removal spell unlimited. 2 mana for -2/-2 on a turn. Kicker, sacrifice an artifact or creature, and you get -6/-6 again. Sacrifice your incubate token, sacrifice your treasures, whatever. Just a good card, honestly. -2/-2 is fine by itself. Can kill bigger things if necessary. Can be a combat trick. Good draft card, pretty high pick. Flitting Gorilla. That is gorilla as in like guerrilla warfare, not gorilla like The meta for a 2/2 flyer, which is okay. When it dies, each player mills 2. Then you may exile this. When you do, put a creature or battle card from your graveyard on top of your library. Not very exciting unless you're like milling pretty hard. You know, you get to like return a thing maybe, which is okay. But 2/2 flyer over 3 is not that exciting. So if you're milling super hard, sure, but Gift of Completion. 2 mana for an enchantment. When ETPs incubate 3, Whenever a Phyrexian you control dies, surveil 1. This card's pretty good. This is, again, there's one enchantment in each color that does this effect where it makes an incubate effect has an effect. And this is effectively 4 mana for a 3/3 with a lot of upside, split up over 2 payments, which is pretty good, honestly. And then you also get the effects of whatever the, like, you know, if you have incubate bonuses, stuff like that. There's a 2/2 flyer that flips incubate cards for free, which is pretty good. So, a good, solid draft card. Quite good, I think. Glistening Deluge, black, black 1. This is the entry into the color hoser cycle for black. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. Creatures that are green or white get an additional -2/-2 till end of turn. So not a bad sideboard card versus, like, you know, white decks and green decks, but it's just okay. -2/-2 isn't even that big anymore, so just all right. Gloomfang Mauler, 7 mana for a 5/5. This is our Swamp Cycler in black. Backup 2 and Menace. This card is huge. It's like a 5/5 Menace that puts Menace and Haste on the board, or a 7/7 Menace by itself. But 7 mana is a lot. And again, the land cycling cards are not going to be as good as they were in prior sets because Magic's so about tempo these days that, like, just cycling on turn 2 is not a great thing to do. But it's big. If you need a I'm sorry, I misread this card. I apologize. Sorry. Misread it. This is -3/-3 for white and green creatures. This card's a very good sideboard card. My bad. I apologize. But yeah, very, very big. If you need a way to win the game in limited, this card can do that. But not that exciting, just filler. Grafted Butcher, 2 mana for a 2/2 Phyrexian Samurai. When it ETBs, Phyrexian you control can menace on end of turn. It's a Lord, and you can pay 4 and sacrifice an artifact or creature to return this to battlefield as a sorcery. This is a pretty damn good Lord, honestly. Don't forget about the mites. The mite tokens are both Phyrexians and artifacts. So you can sacrifice, a mite from the hive to get this thing back. This card's good. This card's really good, actually. I think that the Phyrexian deck might be a real thing, actually, now I'm seeing all the cards kind of laid out and thinking about it in the context of the white mite cards from the last set. Card's good. Definitely going to see play constructed, I think. And then in limited, this card's obviously excellent. Hoarding Broodlord. 8 mana for a 7/6 flying Convoke. When it ETBs, you Demonic Tutor, put the card face down and shuffle it, and then you can play that card and other exile cards with Convoke. This is just your commander card. It's just too expensive to do anything in a real format. I said it. Oh, I said real format. Oh, God. They're going to come get me with the pitchforks. They're going to kill me.
You look terrible.
It's a commander card for sure. In limited, this card's reasonable because convoking it out isn't that hard. Oh, God, they're going to kill me. No, my career's over. But yeah, kind of a fun casual card. It's an okay limited card, I guess. It's just expensive, but, like, convoking it out is reasonable. But in constructed, not really a thing. Acre Drinker, 1 mana for a 1/1 lifelink. Pay 1 and exile from your graveyard, incubate 2. So basically, you can spend 3 mana to get a 2/2 when this thing dies. I would like to have something to do with this card on the front side, whether I'm sacrificing it for value or putting counters on it, making a lifelinker. But the card's fine, honestly. I think you want things to do with it, but this is a really, really good nuts and bolts kind of card for your draft decks. I like it. Card's kind of cool. Honestly, outside shot in constructed because if you can pump it up and you can also use it for effects as well, but probably not. But maybe 1-drops always need to be looked at with scrutiny because 1-drops are just good. 1 mana cards are very, very good in Magic. Acre Shade, 2 mana for a 2/3. Then if your end step, if an artifact or creature is put into a graveyard in the battlefield this turn, put a counter on this. It's okay. Obviously same idea, sacrificing stuff, sure, but 2/3 for 3 is okay. That first counter makes it fine. It's just not super great. I don't know. It's okay. If you're doing these kind of things and you want this card, sure. But Merciless Repurposing. F's in chat for Urabrask. Urabrask did nothing wrong. 6 mana for a instant. Exile a creature, incubate 3. This is obviously a very expensive draft card, but a very powerful one. Removal spell. Also, no restrictions. Exile is excellent. And you get to make a 3/3 off it, which is pretty cool too. But 6 is a lot, So definitely a fine limited card. You can't play too many of these, but the card is pretty powerful. Mirrodin Avenge. F's in chat for Elishnorn. Let's hear it for Karn.
I am Karn.
Good job, Karn. 1 mana, instant, destroy a creature that was dealt damage this turn, draw a card. These effects are often pretty fine in limited, honestly. You attack with a 1/1, they block with a 3/3, use this card and kill it. It's cheap enough, it draws a card. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Card's fine, I think. I'm not like stoked about it, but it certainly seems like a reasonable card. Giga Chad Karn, getting the job done. Constructed, no. Nezumi Informant. Ravenous Rats gets a neon color makeover here. 2 mana for a 1/1 ETB, discard a card. Obviously good if you're playing sacrifice stuff. It's good fodder. Discard a card, sacrifice it later. You'll know if this card's good in your draft deck. You've seen this card 1,000 times. Phyrexian Gargantuan whenever. That's an old school Magic card. Raise your hand in chat if you remember Phyrexian Gargantuan the first time around. I was there, Gandalf. 4/4 for 6. ETB, draw 2, lose 2. Not going to be nearly as good as it was the last time around because tempo is so important in Magic these days, but still pretty good, honestly. Draw 2 is pretty great. It's only a 4/4 for 6, which is a little rough, but it's a decent size. 8th edition? Nope. Try Apocalypse back in the day. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty good draft card, but not as good as it was back in the day. Pylon. Best in show. I'm regretting this a little bit, I think. Those Phyrexian cards seem pretty good, but I think this card's pretty good too, honestly. 4 mana for an instant with Convoke. Destroy creature, Planeswalker, Surveil 2. This card plays very well with tokens. So, like, you know, if we're talking about this Phyrexian deck with tokens and stuff like that, this card's pretty awesome. Surveiling 2 is also excellent. Really, really good effect. You get to pick cards to the graveyard, fix your next draw, kills anything. Card's just good, honestly. Obviously, you need to play it with creatures. You can't play it if you're not playing creatures. But as an instant, this card's excellent. Just really, really good. Pile it on. Card's great. Obviously, first pick and limited. Yeah. I like this, but not the -2/-3. Killing anything or a Planeswalker and then surveilling is so much better than -2/-3. It's not even close. Render Inert. 3 mana for a sorcery. Remove up to 5 counters from target permanents. Draw a card. If this was just like destroy target Planeswalker, draw a card, I think this would have a little more merit as a sideboard card. But overall, just not very exciting. This does kill the incubate tokens in limited, which is good, honestly. This also flips battles, which is pretty cool. But in constructed, that's probably not a thing in constructed. In limited, it does seem pretty good though. There are a lot of things you can do with this card that are all seem to be more than some of its parts. And obviously drawing a card is great, but constructed, not really going to be there. Scorn Blade Berserker. Wake up! We got a sleeper card here. 1 mana for a 0/1 Human Berserker. Backup 1. Pay 1, sack this creature, draw a card. There's a lot happening here. So this can give this effect to other creatures. You can sacrifice them to draw. This can also just put a counter on something and then pay 1, sacrifice itself to draw. So if you're doing like the cool sacrificey stuff, you could in theory like steal something with like Claim the Firstborn, play this, put a counter on it, sack it. Just a lot of moving parts and a lot of words on a 1 mana card, which is pretty sweet. And it's doing a lot of the things that are usually very, very good. Sack a creature, draw a card, add a counter. It's a very weird card, and I might end up being totally wrong about this. But the card does seem sweet and like a really good nuts and bolts, more than some of its parts kind of card. Again, this is just a card you just play, put a counter on one of your creatures, and just sack it and draw. That's still pretty good, right? You spent 2 mana to augment your creature and draw a card, split up over multiple things, and it can do a bunch of other stuff too. So I think this card's sweet. My sleeper card for the set, constructed for sure, I think could see play, and then a limited I think is also pretty solid too. But yeah, kind of a cool nuts and bolts card. Sleeper card, Scorn Blade Berserker. Pretty cool card. Pretty cool card. Easy one to overlook, I think, too. Sheoldred. Just so we need more Sheoldreds, right? Come on. 5 mana for a 4/5 menace, which is okay. When ETBs cast Sheoldred's Edict, they sacrifice a non-token creature or Planeswalker, their choice. And then, I guess let's look at that first. So, face value as a creature, pretty good. Non-token is definitely very important in this format because they can't sacrifice a, wedding announcement token or whatever. And then you're going to kill something reasonable most of the time with this, and the body is fine. So the body is certainly okay. And then you can spend 5 mana to flip it only if you have 8 or more cards. I'm sorry, if they have 8 or more cards in the graveyard, and only as a sorcery. So very costly, kind of hard to do. But if you do pull it off, you get to the True Scriptures. Chapter 1, destroy a creature Planeswalker opponent controls. Chapter 2, may discard 3, then mill 3. Chapter 3, put all creature cards from all graveyards on the battlefield under your control, and then exile this and go back to being Sheoldred, and then trigger again. That's pretty good, honestly. That's a really, really powerful effect. The question, of course, is the front side good enough? I think it's very important for these Praetors that you can't judge them on their backside. Because hi there, hello. You can't judge them on their backsides because it's going to be very difficult to flip them. You know, it takes a lot. It's a lot of mana. You also run the risk of you got to flip this to kill it response. So there's a lot of stuff happening there that that you can't really, sort of like a Planeswalker Ultimate. You can't rely on it. So how good is Shoulder on the front side? And the front side's not bad, honestly. So this is obviously worse than Shoulder currently in the format. But I think this card could see play. I think this card is definitely reasonable. A decent late game effect. It seems honestly pretty good. And the effects are insane. Like if you flip this thing over, you're in really, really good shape. So probably maybe like a one of, like a mid-range deck or something like that. Does Shoulder even have a backside? I don't even know. But yeah, obviously unbelievable limited card. Just like slam dunk, never lose limited card. But Constructed, I think it's got an outside shot. I think it's a little better than it looks. Up next is Tenured Oilcaster. 4 mana for a 2/4 menace. It gets +3/+0 as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Whenever it attacks or blocks, each player mills a card. It's like, filler level, not super exciting. Obviously, if you get the mill effect off, hit like Threshold or whatever, it's a 5/4 menace for 4. But even then, they could just like double block it or kill it. Just okay. Just like a fillery okay card. Traumatic Revelation. Good God, Nissa and Chandra. We gotta. I don't want to be in this room, right? 2 mana for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature or battle card from it. If you do, they discard it. If you don't, incubate 3. So, sort of like the Quench or whatever, the Essence Scatter. It's a card where if you miss, you get a bonus. The problem is 2 mana incubate 3 is pretty bad. And then only hitting creatures or battles is also pretty bad. So, very, very narrow card. In limited, I think this card's okay because like 2 mana incubate 3 is passable enough. But in Constructed, not a chance. Unseal the Necropolis, 2 mana for an instant. Each player mills 3. Then you return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Pretty cool card. Obviously not a card you want a lot of, but good grindy card for sure. A little value from the mill for your opponent also, and then some value as well. Wouldn't want a ton of this card, but I think playing one of this card in your mill deck is certainly reasonable. It's fine. Vanquish the Weak, you're kind of typical bad removal spell. 3 mana for an instant, strike creature power 3 or less. You're not like stoked to play this card in limited because it's not going to kill a lot of the important cards, but it can kill things. If you need a kill spell, it does it. It's fine. Solid, if unexciting. Now you get to our transform cards. Aether Blade Agent, 2 mana for a 1/1 Death Touch, which is fine. 4 mana and then a Phyrexian Blue to transform it. Turns into Gitaxian Mind Stinger, which is a 3/3 Death Touch. Whenever it does combat damage to a player or a battle, draw a card. That's pretty good, honestly. Pretty cool that it's, on the front side, it just blocks well, which is fine. And then the back side, it's a decent threat. Needs to be blocked and can maybe draw a card if you can sneak it in, which is kind of cool. The kind of card where your opponent needs to respect it. Because if they tap out for a turn with no blockers, you can just be like, okay, cool. Flip it, attack, draw a card, which is nice. It's fine. Fine common. Pretty solid draft card. Ayara, Widow of the Realm. No!
Look how they mess with
My girl. I freaking love Ayara. Black 1. 3/3. Tap, sacrifice another creature or artifact. It deals damage. X damage, target opponent or battle, and you gain X life. Rex is the sacrifice permanent's mana value, which is like honestly not that exciting. It's like it's okay, but not very great. 5 and a red Phyrexian. Transform this. Turns into Ayara Furnace Queen, which is a 4/4. Beginning combat on your turn, return up to 1 target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains haste and then exile it. That's really good. So sneak attack from your graveyard is pretty powerful, but a lot to flip also. So all in all, this feels like a very good limited card that's just not going to make it Constructed. Is what it is. Blight Reaper Thallid, 2 mana for a 2/2. Fun guy. What a very fun guy. 3 and a Phyrexian green. I'm like really mixed up today. Transform it as a sorcery. It turns into a 3/3. It makes a Saproling. And then when it dies, it makes a Saproling. Rock solid limited card. Just super, super good. 2/2 for 2 is great. Have some mana later. Flip it over. Get a token. Then you get another token. Very important to note that this has a black-green border. But this is basically a mono black card. And there's a lot of sacrifice stuff happening in black. as a whole. This is 2 pieces of fodder for token stuff, which is great, as well as being a well-rated creature. Great card. Great, limited and common. Super, super good. Nezumi Freewheeler. 4 mana for a 3/3 menace. When it ETBs, each player mills 3. So front side is okay for your mill deck. 5 and a Phyrexian white to flip it over into a hideous Flesh Wheeler, which is a 4/5 menace, which is pretty good. When it transforms into this, put target permanent card mana value 2 or less from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's pretty good, honestly. So you get a decent sized creature up front, and then a chance to get some value as well as a size up later in the game if you're flooded. It's a good card. It's a fine limited card. I think super exciting. Obviously 6 mana is a lot, or 5 mana is a lot, but pretty good. And you can get back, if you're milling a lot, maybe you hit like a Pacifism or some good 2-drop you can get back from either player. That's fine. Good draft card. That's it. That's black. So, to recap, Pylon Best in Show. Scorn Blade Berserker is our sleeper card. Our trap card is Corrupted Conviction. And our Bombin Common is Deadly Derision. YouTube folks, love you. Like, comment, subscribe. Red's coming up. Don't go nowhere. Let me know your thoughts, all right? And let's keep on rolling.